Hello, welcome to MicroStrategy Embedding SDK Playground tutorial. In this video, we're going to talk about a prompt. If you have a dossier with a prompt, how can you run this dossier in MicroStrategy Embedding SDK? There are two ways. Number one, you can use the dossier without answering the prompt yourself. So if you use the dossier, the embedding dossier will show the MicroStrategy out-of-box prompts UI. User can use that interface to answer prompt. The second way, you can create your own interface and to answer the prompt. And when user finish answering prompt, you can create a dossier instance. You can pass the dossier instance to embedding SDK. In this demo, we're going to show you the second case. Let's get started. To see this, you can go to MicroStrategy embedding SDK playground, start over, find example for prompt. So we're going to use attribute element prompt. Click continue. The example is automatically populated in the code editor. Let's first review what the example is. So when you finish, right, when this example is running, we will fetch the list of prompt. We will show the interface of the prompt. You can select which prompt, you can select the answer for the prompt and you can submit the answer. So once you submit, we will answer the prompt. We will create a dossier instance. We will answer the prompt. We will use the embedding SDK to embed the dossier with the prompt already answered. You can see I select 3 elements and all those elements are for subcategory. So you can see only these 3 subcategory are showing. So if I reselect, if I select different, if I add one more, if I submit, so we will re-prompt and answer the prompt again with a new prompt answer. You see there are 4 elements, subcategory are selected. So let's take a look at the code. So I'm going to give you an overview of the code. So first, this part is the embedding of the embedding SDK. So you can get embedding SDK from your environment. In this example, we're using the demo environment. This includes some of the wrapper JavaScript function we created to make the REST API call. You can take a look at this JavaScript with the link here. So you can open the link to see the implementation of this. And this section is just the interface for us to create some instructions and the UI. So let's see how did we populate this UI? So if you look at the end of the JavaScript code, we have a run function. So when, right, we call this run code function. So when run code function is called, we'll create a configuration. So this is a very basic configuration. And this is a placeholder for your embedded content. So the placeholder is this ID is specified in your HTML. So where's the ID? Let's see. So the ID is specified in your HTML, probably at the end of your HTML section here. So let's see. So we use this ID, we create a configuration. Run function, we need to find the run function, okay. Let's see, so create a configuration, we call a login, right? We call a login and we get an auth token. So we'll take a look at what's the login function. So we get auth token, then we'll call this function in the helper, in the REST API's helper, create an instance. So this will make a REST API call, use auth token and create an instance. Then we're going to check, okay, whether the prompt is answered. If it's not answered, if it's answered already, we're going to reopen. We're going to reopen the prompt. So the assumption is your dossier has a prompt, and make sure when you use this example with your dossier, make sure you have a prompt. You have a attribute element prompt. We do have other example to cover some other prompt case like metric prompts. So you get a prompt, and then if you already opened, if you already answered, we reopen it, and then we got a dossier instance. We're going to update the UI, right? We updated this prompt UI. So this will fetch the list of prompts. Update UI call function will update UI update prompt function. Let's see, update prompt function. We'll update this UI. We'll call the get prompts REST API. We'll get a call REST API to fetch a list of prompts. We'll see what the REST API call we made for this function. We get a prompt list, right? So then for each of the prompt list, we will get all the elements. We'll create some UI elements. We're going to show the prompt. We're going to populate this section. So we call another function to populate this section. So for each of this, we're going to fetch, okay, we're going to call we're going to call the REST API to fetch the prompt elements, right? So then we're going to use this prompt element to create a UI, to update the UI. So this is this part. And what happens if you click submit? So if you click submit button, let's see. So we have a submit answer prompt will be called. Let's see. Let's see what's behind the submit function. So if you search, so submit, the function, the function behind the submit is apply prompt. So let's check. So apply. So when you click the submit button, we will fetch the element from this list, right? We'll fetch the prompt key. We'll fetch the element from this list and we will build an answer. You can see the JSON is like this. The prompt info JSON is like this. The key, the type of the prompt, and the answer, list of answers. And we're building the answers here. Right, we're building the answer here. And then we call this function passing this prompt info. So this prompt info, this takes a list of prompts. So in this example, we only have one prompt. So this is list. So when this is called answer prompts, so we're going to call reopen. So we check if the prompt is already open, if its prompt is already answered, we reopen it. We build we reopen it, then we answer the prompt with the prompt list you passed in. Then after this is answered, right, then we will create a .a instance. Then we'll create a .a instance and we're going to pass the configuration. So configuration has the configuration for this .a instance, the UI and embedding the container ID. So then you will see the .a is displayed right here. You'll see the .a displayed here. So that's a quick overview of this example. So we do create some helper functions and in here. So let's take a look. So here we have this helper functions. So when we call, let's see, when we call get prompts, let's see from here. When we call get auth token, so we're making REST API call to fetch the auth token. Okay, to fetch auth token. So for this case, we're using standard authentication, so we don't need to have a we don't need to make auth login call. We do, yeah. So we will, yeah. So this function, this help function will make guess the login call. Let's see if we are using this somewhere. It's not using in this one, so it's help function. This function will create an instance. We call REST API .a ID and instance, and create a .a instance with post. We create a .a instance. This function will reopen the prompt. So if you need to make your own, so we're calling the API document .id and with the instance, right? We already have an instance. We pass in the instance ID called reprompt. It will open the prompt, reopen the prompt. And once you have a prompt, you can, once you have the .a instance, right? You have a prompt, you can fetch the prompt, use this API. And so this function wraps this API to fetch the prompts, list of prompts. And this function will fetch the, once you fetch the prompt, you have a from identifier. So this function will call this API to fetch the element in this prompt. So this, I think, only works with attribute element prompt. If you have a different prompt, there you need to use different API. And yeah, this one create a get the prompt object. Okay, so this API answer prompt. So if you build a prompt answer, and you can use this API to answer prompt. So this is the REST API to answer prompt. So basically, this is just a help file to wrap up some of the REST API call. So in the future, we're going to build a SDK to do this. Okay, so this is a quick overview of this example. So this example covers how to create a prompt, how to fetch the information for rendering the prompt, how to answer prompt, and how to call REST API, how to embed the prompted document in the embedding SDK. So if you want to see some other prompt types, we do have some examples to cover attribute qualification prompts and metric qualification prompt, and feel free to check it out, and feel free to watch other videos and use other examples in Embedding SDK playground. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.